Hi everybody, I'm Michelle, top artist for Sebastian Professional. Welcome, thank you for being with me today. We're here with a collaboration with Dress for Success and Cosmoprof, and we're here with my wonderful model here, Natalie. And we're going to be doing a little bit of a haircut makeover and some tips and tips for styling, and just get right into it. We're here for what Sebastian shapes your world in. And Natalie, what does shape your world mean to you?
Shape my world, well, being a mom definitely shapes my world. They are my biggest motivation in this journey that I'm taking through cosmetology school, and I just want them to see that I'm doing something that makes me happy and I'm passionate about it, and I want them to see that and hopefully they're passionate about and happy about something in the future.
That's amazing, because I think she has a great story. She's a mom of two, like she said, and she's starting in our industry, the amazing industry of hairdressing, and I wanted to give her a little bit of a new look. We have a before picture of her hair, and that's the back right there, and then the front, and it's very pretty. But I wanted to give her some new shape, right? Some movement and lightness in her hair, and she has great hair and great texture. And I'm gonna go right into the haircut here. So what I did first was created an A-line, long layered haircut. So we started in the back and kind of did a deep point cut in, very soft, almost mimicking a razor, but with shears. A little bit slightly shorter in the back, longer in the front. And just to bring that weight out through the ends of her hair, because it was super heavy. I went through the hair and did some internal layering in there with shears. I like to call it bar coding. And what I did is I went through each section when it was wet and kind of went through and took out weight, and I'll show you kind of what I did there. So as I pulled out, you could see that I took out some weight through here. I'm opening and closing my shears. I'm not slide cutting. I really want to be intentional with how I take the weight removal out of the hair. So I went through the entire hair, looked for some weight, and took it out like this. And we have bar coding. So you have some shorter to longer pieces kind of going in there just like a barcode would, so that it removes that weight naturally in the hair. So we did that all throughout the hair. Then what I also did, just to create a little bit more graduation within the hair, went through in diagonal sections like so. And then I also removed weight, kind of higher through the center, lower through the ends, and open and closing my shears again, and creating imaginary graduation lines all the way through to the top of the head. And what I'm going to show you today live is going to be taking some weight removal through the exterior of the hair. So we did all the internal work first, and then I thought it would be really nice to open up her face here and give her a nice fringe, kind of accentuate her beautiful cheekbone and face features. And also, we talked about how she likes her hair away from the face and how we're going to create that without losing that perimeter and that weight line through here. So, any questions? I want to keep this loose, you guys. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment and ask away. I have a great team over here, and Christina McCarver over there answering questions. So let's keep it loose and have some fun. And I'm going to start off with my first section here. So when I try to do this, I want to keep that weight line of a heavy, one length natural look. What I'm doing is taking this section right through the crown over here and a rounded section. I always find that if you put your two fingers together, they always meet up. So you don't ever have to worry about that. So I'm going to take this section here. How many times do we have clients that are always like, I want more volume right here, and then we end up going in and cutting shorter pieces all the time, and then we end up having a short layer just on the exterior of the hair. So instead of trying to do that, we're going to try to do it a little bit in a hidden way so it still creates some movement into the hair. So I'm taking this rounded section, you can see, just from high point to above the occipital, definitely. And bring this in and bring this up and think about, do I want to create maximum volume, or do I want to just kind of keep it soft to the head shape here? And all I'm going to do is create again an imaginary deep point cut in, open up that space there. I'm not necessarily trying to take all this off, but I'm going to take a little bit off here and kind of keep it, if you can see, more like a rounded half moon, like this way, so that it kind of mimics her head shape. We're already seeing that internal weight that I removed out of the hair when I pull it up, so we are just taking weight out and having that rounded shape within the line. Now I'm going to drop that in. You don't really see where the layers started and ended, but now we're going to blend this section through. Pull this up here. This is my guideline here, my guideline of my length there, and I'm just going to softly blend in. And go through the hair, pulling it straight out from where it lives. Pulling it straight out from where it lives, it gives it that rounded feel. You guys see there? So I'm still keeping it. You could see the shape, but I'm creating openness within. She has very, very thick hair. And I think sometimes we get afraid with thick hair what to do with it, because, you know, you could either create a line that you didn't intend to create, or you end up creating shorter layers that you didn't intend to create. And sometimes we just want it to look very seamless, but still have purpose in the hair. Now, if I feel like this part I know from working with it today is pretty thick, I'm going to go through again, and then even take out some weight this way. Now, we talked about shape your world. What shapes my world is that every day we get to do something as hairdressers that can really change someone's life. Just with a simple haircut. We all know we've had bad haircuts, and no matter how great you put on your face or put your clothes on, it just doesn't make you feel good. And at the end of the day, where Natalie is new in this industry, she's going to get ready to start going on job interviews and looking at salons and what she wants to represent herself with. And this is a perfect way to try something new that works for her and for her lifestyle and what shapes her world. She's a new mom going out there in the workforce, and she's going to be a hairdresser and be in this industry. She's got to look her part and be able to have a look that can mold and be changed around in many ways. So she can have a little fun. She could be a little serious. But I think at the end of the day, being able to give that to somebody is really awesome, I think. I mean, otherwise, what are we doing it for? So see how we have like seamless layers here? It just kind of blends in really nicely. And what shapes your world? I'd love to hear from you guys. So if you guys are out there, just kind of comment and let me know. A lot of times just kind of giving back into the world sometimes is a nice way as well. I'm from Boston. I co-own Salon Ava Michelle and Ava Michelle Studios. And we get involved with our community in many ways. Actually, we have hair raising coming up, which is to raise money for Children's Hospital in Boston, which is the #1 pediatric hospital in the country. And I'm on the board, and we have salons that participate that day, and anybody can be involved, really. But it's really about a way of giving back to my community and being able to raise money for one day that we can give our talents to help people.
Hey, Michelle.
Hi, Christina.
Hi, guys. We have a question on Instagram, actually. But first of all, you're doing a fantastic job. We have
you.
people from Croatia joining in. We have several people from all over the world watching, which is really cool. And everyone's really excited. They think, Natalie, that you're just so beautiful. We have a question from HEVX84, and they're asking, I just tuned in. What kind of a haircut is this?
This is, so for those of you tuning in just now, this is a long A-line layered haircut with some internal shape, some graduation put in, as well as weight removal and seamless exterior layers, if that answered your question. So I did explain earlier, the line was created short to long, just using point cutting, deep point cutting with my shears, coming in through here and then leaving the length through the front. And then went through and took out weight vertically, as well as horizontal, diagonal, horizontal, through the back and interior. And now I'm going through and doing the layering on the exterior. So I did this crown section here, took out some weight, connecting it. Now as I move towards the front, I am taking rounded sections along the face and the hairline and bringing it back to connect it to the back and softly blending it in. Remember, I took a lot of weight out in the hair, so it's naturally gonna give some shape to it, but we still need to have structure. I like to do haircuts, I do my techniques wet, and then I put my shape in when it's dry, because I feel like then I can really see how the hair moves. And she also told me that she actually always blow dries and styles her hair. She doesn't ever wear it naturally and wavy. And I wanted something that would be easy for her because she is a mom of two. So I cut it in a way that she can be able to just kind of wash and wear by using the right products in her hair. And I actually did take a picture of that, and I will post that on my page. You guys can see the air-dried version of her haircut. As far as products go and prepping the hair, I think it's really important when you're doing anything to have the right products and kind of telling your clients and educating them. Because as educators, for me, I'm educating my clients every 45 minutes. They're in my chair. And if they don't go home with knowing how to do their hair, then we've, I think, failed as our profession, because we want them to look as good as in the salon. Because I hate hearing that, oh, well, my hair's never going to look that good. Well, have you tried using products, or have you tried styling it this way? And they're like, no. And they could be clients for like 20 years, and you're still like, oh my God, we had this conversation. You want to be able to have those conversations with your clients and make them feel like they can achieve this at home. Otherwise, what's the point? Then they're only looking good, what, a few times a year when they come and get their haircuts? So see how that rounded shape is pulling that hair back? So as I was saying with prepping products and hair, I used some Potion 9 Light. We have a question. I love questions.
We do have a question, Michelle. Two questions, actually.
Yes.
One of them is she center parted? We see that she is, yes.
Her natural part.
Uh-huh.
She did also tell me, though, she does wear it to the right, so I will show how we can maximize versatility in a haircut. Because sometimes I normally don't ever cut in the middle, because very few people are completely committed to middle parts 24/7. So I always ask them, if you were to do it to the side, which side would you do it more often? And I'll balance the haircut that way, and then put it in the middle, and then balance what is needed. Because think about it. If you have a middle part, because they think that's going to make it even, and then they go home and they wear a side part, you've got a weird shelf of hair that just sits and it doesn't ever blend in. So I always say commit to a side if there is one. Vicinity is good. Balance the shape, then go back and do a middle part so it still looks good. That's what I found has worked for me. Hope that answers the question.
The other question was from Andrea, and she said, I'm going to school for cosmetology soon. Any tips? Thank you. You are doing a beautiful job.
Thank you. Well, I'm going to leave that question to you. Any tips for?
Tips, let me see. show up and try your best. You know, there's a lot of students that they show up and they complain a little bit about the things that they have to do, and it's just, if you want it, you're gonna get it. And
it's hard work, and you have to be ready to put in the hard work. And I know, you know, as a salon owner and interviewing all the time, and for you to go in, make sure your hair is done. Make sure you have, you know, you don't have to put a full-on face makeup, but like, look presentable if you're going in for a job interview. And I'm gonna go through some looks later of what styles you can do, but some styles can really command attention in an interview, and others, it just show your personality. Like, you can be sweet and pretty and be that girl next door, but you can also be like, I want this job, I'm gonna work hard for it, and I'm gonna be a really great hairdresser. So I think that's really good. Showing up is one of the most important things, though. If you don't show up, you know, you got to start there. And you know, people always wonder like, oh, why is being an apprentice so important? And like, we have a 2-year program at my salon after hair school. I mean, every state is different. But you know, we have that because what you learn, even doing the small little things as an apprentice, is going to show what you are going to be as a stylist. If you're neat and organized and clean as an apprentice, you will be neat and organized as a stylist. The training comes from the beginning, so it's really important. So I'm going to move on to the front here. We talked about doing a little bit about framing her face because she's got a beautiful face. And if you guys can pinpoint who she looks like, because we couldn't figure it out all day, that would be amazing. Put your guesses on there because I can't figure out exactly who she looks like. So why don't we go around cheekbone length there, open it up. And then, like I said, she likes her hair away from her face, like in that before picture, she had it curled away. I want to take some rounded sections here. Instead of cutting it round and cutting those pieces short, because she still wants to be able to put it up, we're going to do a little bit of a filtering layer inside the hair. So first, look straight down. I'm going to take her natural parting. I think the fringe part is really interesting. Some people don't know how to find a natural fringe. So I'm looking at where it naturally falls. I can see the separation from here almost automatically. So I'm just going to tuck that away like this.
We have another question.
Sure.
Michelle. First of all, there's a lot of people saying she looks like Priyanka.
Yes,
Priyanka
that's
Chopra.
a good
Yep.
one.
Mm-hmm. Yep, which I can totally see. And we have a question, and the question is, how do you prevent yourself from overthinking the cut? I'm so bad about overthinking my layers, then I get a mental block. I've
been there. We've all been there. You know, I think mapping it out and stay simple. That's why I say, you know, I'll do the line, I'll do some of the techniques wet, but I put in the shape for a long layered at least. For a long layered haircut, I put the shape in afterwards because then I can't overthink it because I can see exactly where the hair lays. I know where there's heaviness that needs to be removed or, you know, something that opens up. And I don't go too crazy and fancy with the blowout because you want it to be a little bit more natural. So after I cut, I kind of rough dry with some products in it, comb it, let it see where it falls into place, and then I know what else I need to do in terms of finishing that haircut, you know? I think it's pretty common we overthink things. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I was overthinking this today, but that's all part of being human, I think. So I think we just have to know that you know the techniques, you know what you want to achieve, and simple is always better. And that's with any situation, I think, in life, not just hair. Okay, so I've got this section here, and I just looked at kind of where it naturally parted forward and back. And I did rough dry it a little bit more in her face just to see what would stay. And we want to open it up around cheekbone. So you always need to cut from the outside and the inside so that shorter hair pushes longer hair, right? So I want this to go this way. I'm gonna have to do shorter through longer here. And I also want it to open up this way. But remember, I also want it to go to the side. So it's gonna be a little tricky, follow along. So first, I take this section, and sometimes this fringe section is just a weird isosceles triangle, which is just a fancy word for whatever shape you want it to be. The triangle is not like an actual triangle. It's going to be kind of working with the natural hairline. All right, so I'm going to open and close using the inside of my shears because that's the sharpest. And I've never slide cut. I open and close my shears because I want, and I'm going to push away, coming all the way onto the angle until I get to the end. So we got one side here. And then I'm going to walk over to this side. Sorry. Just tell me to get out of my way if I'm in the way, but I'm coming in this way now. I'm opening and closing. So we're opening from the outside. Now I might just take this also, and it doesn't have to be perfectly even, but you can see this way and this way. Now I went longer on this side because when she flips her hair this way, it falls over, it all blends. So just taking off the loose bits here, and then we're gonna open it towards the middle, very, very, very subtly. I'm going to open, take that corner off, okay. Then I'm gonna take a little bit of weight out. Does that look pretty? Opens up her face a little bit, right there. Does that look good? You're my mirror out there. Okay, so it kind of just sits right at her cheekbones there. It opens up her face. I think that looks good. All right, so now I'm going to do something called filtering. Now think when you do a round layered haircut, right? We come in through rounded sections through the front, and we usually cut right through the face, a line to keep it round. But what I'm going to do is we want to keep the perimeter and the weight line. Plus, she has a narrower area through the front than she does in the back. So I don't want to take too much hair out. And if I cut all that off, then you end up having no hair in the front. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in, just take my sections the same way I would take my sections using thinning shears. And thinning shears can be really great if you use them with a purpose. So what I'm going to do here, if you can see this fine section through the front, this is where her fringe ends, and this is where her length is. Somewhere in there, I'm going to create an imaginary line using thinning shears. Why not use a regular shear? Because it just falls a little bit differently. I have done it, but it takes a little bit longer. A thinning shear will actually help take that out. So let me see, how can I stand to make this work? Here we go. So I'm coming in straight through like this and pulling out and creating a line within that section. And that's going to naturally, see how it's already pushing and flaring the hair back? So my next section, through here, pulling it in the front again, using my guide of my fringe. And I'm really just going where it's kind of really weighted. And I'm going to come down. Very small snippets. And see? Isn't that cool?
We have another question, Michelle.
Sure.
One of them is from Ava.
Hi, Ava.
And she said, how do you determine the length of the bangs? And then the other question was, So they're two very different questions, but I'm just going to give them to you both now. The other one is, for someone who is shy but passionate about this industry, do you have any tips? So length of the bangs and tips for the industry for someone that's shy.
Okay, so length of bangs, I think that honestly, whenever a client asks me, whether it's their haircut or their fringe, you give me a length and I'll create the shape and the look for it that's gonna work best for your face. So I feel like if someone really wanted something bold and they wanted, a strong fringe line, but maybe, some people just want that dramatic look, it'll look good. You can also try to angle it a little bit to work with her face. So same thing with a fringe. I find you look at points, either the eyes, the cheeks, the nose, the lips, the chin. If it's lip length or longer, you can tug it behind your ear. So usually that's a good reference point when I ask my clients, do they want the hair away, be able to pull it back, or just do they want it, if they need it pulled back, it has to be below the chin. But if it's by the lip, they can tuck it. Someone that's working out, and it's all great. I don't work out, but people that work out, I ask them, majority of the time, are you in the gym or are you outside? So you just need something just for the time that you're in the gym for an hour, then just use a bobby pin. It's fine. Or use a headband. Because it's really about what it's gonna look like for the other 23 hours of the day, right? So I'm using the reference as her cheek because she's just got a beautiful face and it just kind of curtained right there, really pretty. But I wanted to show the difference over here, and I'll answer that other question. See how this side is filtered and this side is not, and how it naturally just folds back without having to cut, an actual layer there. So I love this, this technique for that. So I'm gonna do this on this side. And Christina, what was that other question that you just asked about what is the advice for?
Yes, so the other question was, for someone who is shy but passionate about this industry, do you have any tips?
For someone that is shy, I mean, honestly, this industry in every level is so great. Being shy just means you'll be very in tuned with what your craft is gonna be. And you'll kind of absorb and take everything in. And I think that with that, once you feel more comfortable, the shyness goes away. This was not my path, originally when I was going into hair. So I feel like if you just keep your mind open to learning from everyone that you can, you have to just, if you're passionate, that's all you need. The shyness, you'll grow out of that eventually. But I think it's just having that passion for learning and always wanting to find a mentor and just be by their side and learn as much as you can, because at the end of the day, you create what you create, but it's those mentors that helped you get there, and that the confidence will get you out of being shy. I hope that it answers your question. But great question.
We have another one, Michelle.
Sure.
If the is not obvious when hair is styled, why are you using this cutting method?
Because I don't want it to, we want to keep the strength of the weight line in the front because it is a shorter to longer haircut. If I ended up cutting that off, then it's going to end up being shorter. So just kind of, this way it keeps the length there. Okay. So getting down to the end of this right here, open it up, and then I just want to show you some styling. There you go. So I think I mentioned earlier, use a little Potion 9 mixed in with some whipped cream and dark oil. That's what I used when we prepped. And now that most of the haircut is done, I'm going to just give you a quick styling technique. Oh, and as far as the blow drying, I did say I was going to show you what I did. With the blow dryer, I just, the brush, took a small brush. This is the size 2, I believe, in GHD. Wrapped it around here, let the heat go through, twisted it out, and then blow dried the ends straight instead of curling the ends, just to give it a little modern flair to it. And And now let's do a little styling for her when she's ready to. I'm going to use a little dark oil. Just pumping away. I encourage you guys to follow me, michellelee.styles, and follow Sebastian Professional North America and Kosmerhoff and all right, and one of my favorite go-tos, Shaper ID and Reshaper hairspray. I know it's scary at first when you look at this, but it really opens up
we have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Two, actually. One is, how do you build confidence to enter contests such as Trend Vision, which, as a heads up for everyone, it's now changed to the BEA Awards. And then once you answer that, I'll give you the other one.
How do you build the confidence? Just do it. Even if don't pressure yourself about it. Just do a photo shoot, get some people together, get a great model, work on some hair and just have fun, take some pictures. And that's really just getting you started into doing the whole photo shoot thing and getting involved. And then, if you put the pressure on entering a contest, that might be too much. Just take a great picture. Use a great model and take a great picture. And then most likely, when you take that stress away from it, it's going to end up being something great. What was the other question?
So the other question was, when deep parallel point cutting, what would the difference of that be versus texturizing with the shears that you were using?
What is the difference? So sometimes the thinning shears can just, because it has the teeth in it, and depending, you don't want to use one that has wide teeth, just closer teeth. You can get there a little bit more detail and take a little bit more weight out than just using a straight shear. You can do it with a straight shear. It's just going to be, think of just one stroke, but with the thinning shear, it has multiple strokes, so it's a little bit more blended. I think it's all about the blend. So I'm just kind of playing around with the hair, giving her a nice side parting. Trying to use my mirror here on the side here. And we have these awesome little fun clips. I think accessorizing is really a great way to show some personality and mixing it up. It shows that you took a little extra time to curate your look. So we just got a couple of these little fun little clips to mix and match. And I think there's no really wrong or right way to mix and match some clips. It's just something fun to do. Something easy. I feel like doing it this way, you kind of give yourself use a little reshaper. And I don't know, I like to give my clients options before they leave of how they can wear their hair air dried, how they can wear it a little bit more styled or something simple, because unless we show them, they're not going to really know. And I think it's our job. Otherwise I mean, that's what makes our job really fun, that we can do these things. and it doesn't have to be worked so hard. I think sometimes we tend to work really hard just to get that perfect picture. But we want to still have a realistic look for our clients to feel that they can do this themselves. And we had a discussion earlier, what's easier, a wand or a styler like the GHC Platinum Plus? And it really, it depends on how savvy people are. For me, like a wand, I'd probably have burn marks all over my arm. But it's easy for me to do the same style with a styler. But clients, everyone is trying to figure it out. But as long as we give them options, I think that's what it is, options, having that option. And we talked a little bit about different ways you could wear your hair. Do you think you can utilize some of these tricks, Natalie?
Yeah, definitely.
And it's just more fun, simple, nothing overly done. I think that's cute. I mean, having just a little bit of fun with the pins, and you can put in 10, you can put in 3, you can put in whatever you want, really. It's a nice way to do something different. Now, I don't know if we have time. I can show you one more, but I'd love to show you something a little bit more, especially if you're going on a job interview and you want something to command a little bit more attention. And I think something away from the face really does that. So. And I'm going to utilize some of these fun bobby pins and clips that we have. So, just taking section to the top. Yes? Oh, turn her, sorry. I didn't want to be too far away from my pins. Here we go. And I just knotted the second section. So I pinned in this section, knotted this, and then I think sometimes we overthink some of these styles and knot that on as well. And then I will, thank you, Eric. Just gonna utilize these pins just to have some fun and work your way around it. So I hope you were able to pick up a few things that you can utilize and use. Feel free to continue to ask questions or reach out. And then I think it's really about what you do to shape your world and become a better stylist, a better artist, a better person, really, in this crazy world we live in, right?
Instagram is loving it.
Okay, thank you. I feel like with a lot of these updo styling, things that we do, we overcomplicate it, and you can just sometimes, even clients, they just whip it up sometimes too, and you're like, how did you do that? But it's because we overthink it, right? So let's not overthink it and just try to get stuff done. And why not? All right. So we are. Any last questions? Or that's burning in your minds? All right. How does that look? I don't know. Try to do something really quick and easy and utilize these little pins. Well, thank you guys for joining in with Cosmoprof and Sebastian Professional and Dress for Success. And as we help people like Natalie that's changing their careers and doing something new with their life, that we can help them feel confident to be who they want to be when they go out there. And also learning a new haircut. Hopefully I showed you something a little different in terms of a long, layered, angled haircut. Kind of infusing a little bit of a lot of internal and external weight removal. Please follow us, follow me, and take care. Thanks, guys.